How's it going, guys? What you'll see today is a breakdown and review of the ACW-R Carbine in Battlefield 4. As usual, what I'll do is give you the stats on it, my thoughts on it, all of the equipments I usually attach to this weapon, and the ranges I feel that are most successful for it, and of course compare it to other weapons to see if it's worthy of using at all. So let's get started. First things first, what I usually do is give you the Synthic stats, because the stats paint a picture. If you prefer to use this weapon regardless, then you'll be effective with it, and that's perfectly fine. You don't have to adjust your playstyle or preference based on the stats. But the stats always paint a good picture. They tell you basically where this weapon will be strong and weak, and you have to make the adjustments thereforth. Max damage is 25. Minimum is 15.4, so already it's dropping lower than most of the LMGs and assault rifles out there, so already you're at a detriment. The drop-off start damage is at 8 meters and ends at 50s, and again, because it's dropping off at 50 meters instead of, say, 75, you're losing damage over range per bullet, so that's again another issue. So you're at it already it's painted the picture that you're at a disadvantage versus most LMGs and assault rifles. Its fire rate's 880 rounds per minute, which is quite high, and you'll have the advantage against nearly most other weapons that way. So that, again, that's telling you a story of maybe a maximum medium range weapon with a devastating potential at short range. Muzzle velocity is 500 meters per second, which is pretty good. Magazine size is great at 31, and it fires a 5.56 by 45 NATO round. Reload time is 2.37 seconds when it's completely empty, and 1.83 seconds when there's a round left in the chamber. So already compare the fire rate with the reload time. Close quarters monster already. Medium range max as potential. Synthic gives you the recoil stats based on decimals. The vertical recoil in this case, in terms of upward vertical recoil, is 0.38 versus most other weapons that are around 0.4. So it's pretty good. It's a good horizontal, or it's a good vertical recoil. Easy to manage. In terms of horizontal recoil, there's a decimal of 0.4 to the left and 0.3 to the right. So the higher the decimal, the more the recoil to that way. So obviously it has a vertical or a horizontal recoil to the left. But it's easy to counter as well because it's not a large. It's only a 0.1 difference, so it's not manageable, or it's not unmanageable. So overall, when you break it down, its vertical recoil is very manageable. And its horizontal recoil, you do have to compensate for the fact that it wants to fire to the left a bit. Other than that, it's not a huge deal. When you compare this weapon to basically my carbine weapon of choice of basically the carbines, basically all of them, the ACW-R has it's basically the AK-5C. It has the ACW-R has the advantage in terms of a much higher, faster rate and a bit faster time in terms of reloading when there's a round left in the chamber. That being said, the AK-5C has a much higher advantage in terms of maximum distance it can fire, a faster empty reload time, much higher muzzle velocity, lesser recoil vertically and horizontally, and a bit lower first shot recoil multiplier. So again, in terms of the statistical breakdown, the AK-5C has the ACW-R in multiple different advantages. So that's a bit of an issue there. In terms of the loadout I always use for the AK-5C, or the ACW-R, I use the reflex sight, the laser sight for that hip fire bonus, because you're going to be using this thing in close range. And you don't really need a muzzle brake or a compensator, because those account for vertical or horizontal recoil, and those are manageable if you use tap or burst fire, and you won't really need them at all when you're in close quarters, which this weapon is geared for. And since you'll be on the run a lot, I always equip an ergonomic grip instead of, say, the angled grip for first shot recoil. Overall, I do enjoy this weapon, but I do feel it has its limitations. Don't try and be a hero and shoot at long range with it, because you'll be at an extreme disadvantage. Medium range, you want to tap or burst fire, because it can be effective, as you saw earlier in the video, but the real strength of this weapon lies in close quarters. Equip that laser sight and the ergonomic grip to keep the bullets basically on target in short range. Burst fire, or basically hip fire, or equip the sights inside of 10 to 15 meter range, and you'll have an advantage over just about all weapons. I'd still prefer the AK-5C, to be perfectly honest, though. Hope you enjoyed. See you later.